keep it simple for everyone at home. Did see some changes there. Biggest thing for me, feats of strength, actually not just first blood, going to be first 3 kills. And I think that's actually a big difference because now, you know, an early instance on yourself to get the move speed boost. Yep, so going to try and use that to slow the Ambessa, speed himself up. Potentially a big difference as he's going to try and find whatever advantage they can. Of course, win conditions for this. First tower, 100 creeps. First to 2 kills or 1 kill if the circle of fire is running.
Yep. So either go for one or the other, or wait until the Battle Royale mode begins, and then you just duke it out and see who survives. Haichao starting to dip below the HP pool. The one advantage that we can kind of say that Haichao does have is he bought refillable pots. So while it's less sustained on this first wave, Knight bought real pots, so he won't be able to have them again once he returns to lane. Haichao's got to be a little careful. He's starting to take a lot of damage here, but he goes for that last health pack. Nice bandit. Oh, goes back in. Knight is forced to flash backwards. The Ignite was ticking down, but Haichao had to flash at the last possible frame to not fall to a potential couple auto attacks that Knight was looking for. As Haichao, oh, he's able to get a little bit of that health from the second pack.
Yeah, still, Knight should be able to close the gap here, get back in range of the XP, and play for the next cannon. Of course, the cannon minions incredibly juiced in the 1v1
pressure game due to this range advantage. Haichao could try and lock down Knight with an ultimate, but he would have to land the public execution in order to pull it off.
Actually, the real big one would be if he's able to potentially like the shockwave with the public execution. I'm wondering if it can change the R from Ambessa actually, because if it can move it. I know like it goes on. Oh,
ooh, well,
no, you gotta hit it to move it. But
we won't know the answer to that question for a while. Oh, public execution right in the face of Knight. I mean, does he actually win it? He got pretty darn.
I mean, even better by now. I think this one's over on this wave.
I mean, Haichao just has to force the all-in, right? Otherwise, he's just going to lose. Public execution knocks him up. Decent damage. There's the Ignite, but the barrier counters it pretty darn well. Haichao flashes one cast of it, but Knight just hits the turret. Says burst damage, but reliably, I would love 2. And you've got that. Aurora, an incredibly... such an impressive champion once she gets her items online. The amount of poke and harass she can get in while, you know, stealthing in with invisibility and just
have a lane swap as Zeka
forced to flash, but the immediate follow-up from On gets the guaranteed knock-up, and it pulls him right into Elk's grasp. Maybe Elk will flash over the wall here. The crashdown comes in. Elk doesn't even need to burn a single summoner spell. It's just that damn easy. BLG. You have a tank matchup. Hang on. Might hold here. Wei does lock down On, but he initiates the crash down, and oh my goodness, Knight was already level 6 with the Between Worlds, does so much burst, and that forces LNG to scatter. Jewel already forced to flash, but Wei is going to follow up through as he already possesses the Jace, trying to look for another reset. But
that said, Grubs being taken down will be nice for Wei. Looks like he's going to get all 3s. So that would be step 1 of the feats of strength. Of course, to get out, he's got to go up. I think those could have been angled a little bit better to maybe pressure something different on.
I think Photic is in trouble, and yes he is. Bin all out, takes the rat downtown, puts him back into the grave.
Oh, Bin Sante, it's back in 2025. Kasante, still a very, very, very strong champ, down for BLG.
Oh, and Q flash onto a flashless rat in Photic. Ziggs got nowhere else to run, but he sidesteps in and steps outside of this. What we were alluding to, Wei had no idea that BLG were waiting in the wings. They get that first pick onto the plant lady, and now Nautilus could be the next target. Heartbreaker sinks his sword deep into Nautilus's back, and he doesn't even need relentless with their picks. No, leave him alone, Knight, not you too, man. He still has Between Worlds if he wants to pop it. He finally does after landing the Weirding for extra bit of damage. One more cast of the twofold Hex, and Photic is just getting the absolute BLG love treatment.
This is a harsh kind of love they're giving him as Zhuo.
Man, it's tough love, man. Bullet time. Good night, Zhuo. And the rest of LNG.
This will be yet another feat of strength. That's 2 out of 3. So the bonus boot secured now.
BLG, almost 4,000 gold ahead at this point. On can pretty much walk into any jungle quadrant with Wei, and I feel like have absolutely no fear. You know, unless LNG completely overload on one side, which is what they're attempting to do. Death Charge does go on away, and On is forced to flash, but the Ignite, along with the Leandri's burn from Wei does take him out, and will give one reprieve of a kill back to LNG's side. But during this whole time, Matt, Alec is just comfortably pushing in on this bottom wave, and will secure... words, man, I'm going to be honest. You know, LNG, they've got a really, really tough state for them to try and crack, and...
It's so good. It's so fun that they stuck together. And, oh boy, Hai Chao. He's under focus.
Could be in trouble.
Yeah.
Good flash. Immediately not giving him an angle. However, Ben is going to commit his own flash over the wall. And they're not going to even need to use the all-out. Hai Chao's just got nowhere else to run. On was distracting the rest of LNG on the bottom flank, and he is still alive because LNG cannot push through this corridor. Zika is now completely cut off, and Wei is going to try and lock him down. Here comes the rest of the CC. Joel tries to look for a re-engage, and they try to pepper him down with the long-range damage on Photic's back end, but he's just got no fuel left in the tank. He's run out of mana. The rest of his teammates are falling by the wayside. Joel is forced to run. And
he got 2 ults in that fight and walked out alive and really set his team up for success, because when depth charge is down, when pummeled execution's down, what's going to deal with the rest of the Fed members? He has the stats, has the items to walk through these chokes against the mages and try and do some damage here to LNG.
Yeah, the base stat differential just makes it so that the tanks don't even care about the Ziggs bombs and the Zyra plants. However, On does get blown up, and that's really darn good for LNG. Now a 5 versus 4, but Zika's caught on the wrong side of the tracks, trying to play distraction, and might just escape, but Wei lands a well-timed W through the wall, and now has possessed the Mbessa. And the rest of LNG are nowhere near close to securing this dragon, so now they're starting to give ground as Wei makes his way through, using the power of the mobility of the Mbessa, and the rest of LNG see... I mean, they're behind the curve, which it just makes things so much more difficult
for themselves. So, just the fact that LNG is behind like this, the comp they have hurts even more. And
oh boy! As soon as they see an enemy out of position, On wastes no time. However, Elk gets bursted down. This is really critical for LNG. Major carry gone, but Wei has the power of the resets, and he could just rip through the team by himself. He's got Ben, he's got Knight, all in the back pocket to try and assist him on these possessions. Joel is trying, man. He's trying to find some vision through that tri-bush corridor. However, On was waiting, and the bullet time immediately forces the flash out of Wei. Nice Strangle Thorns, but Knight on the right side. Good flank between worlds. Finds the jungler, pops him, and Photic just makes it in time. Still hasn't made an Inferno Bomb to try and look for some burst, but it's all on to the other LNG members to open up space and create that initiation opportunity, but there's no jungler for the side of LNG, so there's no smite contest, and Wei still has a smite available, so this should be an objective guaranteed.
I think this is a dangerous start here for BLG. There's a lot of poke on LNG, and Otacon shreds, but okay, they find another. That's good. Okay, using the objective to get kills, but sticking it here is still a bit hairy. They have it down to 4K. LNG, oh man, there's no smite, can't walk in. All right, gonna be a give. Well played by BLG. They pull off, and now with the GA buffs, they're just going to continue.
Yeah, there's no flash on Photic, so he's been cut off from the rest of the support of his team. I mean, it's just really nice from BLG to wait out, to bait LNG in members one by one. They even had the patience to let Photic's last Q hit the Otacon so that Wei didn't mistime the smite and accidentally give that objective on over. Very clean stuff from the BLG squad. I hope that we have quelled those doubts, or at least BLG has personally quelled those doubts.
To see BLG this dominant and taking care of teams like this early on. This is a scary team, man. And Knight, I mean, this angle looks way too good yet again.
So good. And he knows that Photic and Wei don't have flashes. Easily pops one of the mages. The bullet time rips apart the support. And LNG frontline is now turning into paper mache. Knight finds Photic once again and says, hey, do you remember the laning phase, my friend, where I killed you like 2 or 3 times? Well, here's a 4th death for you.
It feels like an FF on the map here for LNG, as BLG, they tickle the Baron to draw LNG in and demolish them piece by piece, now taking the map apart piece by piece. Mid inhibitor turret's going to fall. Baron's about to fall. Haichao's taking the consolation prize in the bot lane because I think he's FF'd and he's just, trying to push and get what he can down there. Feels like the solo queue adventure where you're done with the game, but your team hasn't FF'd yet. Is at least going to get objective bounty. I think this is the right call. I know I'm joking a bit for LNG and Haichao. It's the right call.
Yeah,
Still,
it does look like a rage split moment, but a window back into this game. And we're just moments away from them being able to close it out. Obviously, though, Knight might be in trouble, but uses the between worlds and stands on the far right edge to bounce back to the left, giving him an immediate exit. Nicely done. He still has a TP, so if he needs a chance to base and regroup with the rest of his team on this bottom flank push, they definitely can. But a public execution catches Knight, and he's forced to flash. They're trying to all in to see if they can get at least one kill and knock down the Magi Soul Stealer stacks. At least one victory for LNG today, but they're going to lose out on their top laner, and BLG still matching strong 4 versus 4 on the map.
Respect to Zika, one of the pieces that has beaten BLG the last 2 times that LNG has met them. Him and Weiwei, the returners from the contenders of LPL last year. Ends up making a big play, finds the shutdown. That said, not going to change the fate of this game either way, as the second inhibitor turret and inhibitor to fall. BLG continue the push. Knight spawns in 20, and as you called out earlier, Rafa does have that in power TP. Doesn't protect the minions anymore. Those minions will still take damage. A little bit harder to end the game. Can't use the TP to protect the wave anymore.
There's a couple ultimates still available for LNG to use, but it's all on Jewel to find the CC to layer it on top. They take out one Nexus turret. To be fair for LNG, if they manage to stall this base defense, those Nexus towers will respawn, but they're taking a lot of damage. Both Zika and Knight are back up on the map. He has teleported and joined his comrades here in the field. Elk trying to pepper down Haichao. But it looks like Zika is trying to deal with... Oh my god, a poor Haichao just cannot endure the pressure from Elk's misfortune. Jewel gets knocked up once again, and there's the final window that BLG needed to put the wrapping touches on this game. Nice try, LNG, but you're going to have to try way harder if you want to step to the reigning world finalists. GG, well played. BLG take game 1.
Options, they are real, and On's gonna bust it out. Support Elise has been dominating the Rift, and it looks like On's gonna bust it out here. Game 2, going into the Braum.
And if you thought BLG's early game was scary in the first, they did try and stall out this dive as long as possible. It doesn't look like that it should be that successful. Both are very healthy, but On goes in, takes up the turret, aggro flashes away, and then at the very last possible second, he dodges the turret aggro with the repel. Elk is also forced to flash, but they burned both summoner spells on Aphotic, and he's super low. They just need one more. Wei doesn't have flash anymore, but he lines up the wind, becomes lightning, and Aphotic can't dodge it. First blood goes over to BLG.
That's big. I mean, there's no TP here for Aphotic, so he's going to lose a lot of CS and XP. Meanwhile, no flash for Ben. Gonna try and get around this one, but I think he's gonna be going down here.
Q flash? No, he doesn't even need the flash. He's in range. Still down without a flash. He can secure this crash safely, but they're just gonna go right onto Zika, and the flash does not escape the range of the taunt. Wei, thing that has made Wei such a clear-cut and choice for BLG, and why they have, decided to rock with him as the main starter going into the LPL 2025 season, because he just knows his role. He knows where he needs to be, and he's punishing Zika without flash. The equalizer comes down, but Wei and Ben should have enough damage as the majority of BLG's members, but a chain of corruptions immediately forces Photic's own cleanse on repeat. On with the cocoon flash, locks down this Braum. Here comes Wei. Maybe they can find a way to turn this seconds. Wei was the only person with a first item completion on this Xin Zhao, and it pretty much allowed him to walk around as he pleased, and imposing vision control and his own free will, ensuring that BLG had no contest whatsoever in securing the second rotation of grubs. And with plenty of time to really set up for the second dragon of the game, I imagine that they have options here to say, do we want to force this dive top, or do we just want to get the crash in and get bases off and start setting up towards the bottom side of the map?
Oh, hold on, Wei.
Well, he has a flash, but the Crescent Guard is not going to protect him when they get in melee range and lock him down with all getting into the pit. Haichao is forced away. Oh, man, not like this. We had for LNG.
another perk about Elise. Those spider wings do a ton of damage to turrets. 6 grubs and Elise hits pretty hard. Going to be enough to take the turret, and they're just going to push forward. Way doesn't quite have the crescent guard up yet. Chain of corruptions.
There we go. Nice piercing arrow on the back half. Not enough range on that last hail of arrows from Elk to get the last bit of damage down to knock out Jewel. But BLG getting the pressure that they need to secure first brick. And because they had already secured the first 3 kills of the game, they get the feats of strength. Oh, but Ben's in trouble. Zika!
Down a level. Zika was able to get a ton of damage down early on. Really impacted it now on. Uh-oh. He's got nowhere to jump to.
Yeah. I mean, he can jump to Zika, but I don't think he's getting out of this one without repel.
Okay.
All right, LNG. They're starting to turn.
And we saw the rumble from Zika early on. We weren't super sold on the pick yet, and he was a big part of the reason why people started getting sold on it, as that's a lot of tools burned by Way. Flash by Night. Goodbye, High Chow.
Good night indeed. Now, big shutdown onto High Chow, and it is for Night, but the rest of the cavalry from LNG are swarming in. Way's got nowhere else to run. Ben throws down the hero's entrance, provides the knockup they need to at least trade one back onto Way.
Again, 6 grubs. You can see how much damage Elise does to these turrets with the spiderlings and the grub buff. All those spiders that hit do benefit from grubs.
BLG not quite able to land the CC as he was coming out of that Rift Herald.
That's still, I mean, a draw. That's a big one as well. 6 grubs help with that. And we kind of missed out on that one as the second draw.
LNG fans in the chat, there's a chance. And Fodic dodging out on the chain of corruptions. Definitely.
But no contest from LNG. So BLG at skirmish on the top side got more ults out of LNG in response from Ben. So he'll be joining the fight. On's not spotted.
Oh, on Cocoon Flash. I think he found the one target into Zika, and that was the main hero that we were looking at, LNG, to step up. But if he's gone, the rest of LNG, and I don't think they're rocking the firepower needed to tango with the best in the LPL. BLG already finding 2.
I mean, that's exactly who we wanted to find, right? Could not find anyone better to set up the start of that fight, and the follow-up from Way was fantastic. Otacon easily secured here by BLG. Just so easy that they decided to move straight onto the Baron. We'll see if they use this to bait him in and turn with a GA buff, or just stick it, as Way spotted being marked by On, and he's just going to be forced out, so that's a free Baron for BLG.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
Boy.
Well, that was not the greatest outcome if you're an LNG fan, as you're now staring down a deficit of 8,000 gold against BLG, who are just pounding this inhibitor tower in the mid lane, using the power of the Baroned up minions. And they even have been on the top side taking care of business through this tier 2 quickly. This inhibitor will fall, and the rest of BLG, they're going to try and go for it. They have to send High Chow back. I mean, Nexus turret 1 falls. Juo is the first target they find, and he just gets completely decimated. BLG 5-4. LNG running out of options here. I mean, you might as well try to kill the minion wave. They turn onto the left side. Q Flash finds the target. There's the Fate Seal onto the back line. Decent damage, but remember, the voracious Otacon gives them the GA, so they're not actually that dead. They can come back with the power of TPs if they need it. BLG forcing everything out of LNG's hand, but they're just not getting enough done. Way goes all the way in, but he's got Knight in his back pocket, and he unloads the rockets into his back. LNG tried, but it just wasn't enough. Once again, a BLG now have them cornered 2-0 in the series. GG, well played.
What a disgusting end to the game. So far, this split of LPL will be countered by a Bard.
On's Bard. Well, I'm not going to lie, Cubby. I don't really have any thoughts about. He does have to be careful, though, because if he times the W at the same time as the steadfast presence, it will not go through, and he will not get his stun off on the Zika. But he is being forced back, and Knight might just look for a solo kill on the High Chow, but he leans to the support of Weiwei, and because he's there, Knight is forced to flash over. Weiwei follows with his own flash, and now is trying to keep in range of him using the slow from the red buff, and here comes High Chow. Wait on back. Weiwei with first blood.
And with that said, BLG doesn't feel like they've won the health bar war, but they have won the pressure war. It does help that Ben is here. Does not have the TP. Zika, if he wants to try and contest, could TP here. It does have the the TP available. Not empowered. That happens later on in the game, but of course, if the TP changes, can go anywhere. Not the case though. And one. And against Poppy, too, that can be rather useful. Oh, boy.
Oh.
Paranoia.
Normally, I say that Featherstorm's a great answer into the Nocturne Paranoia, but not when you don't have it off cooldown. And On tries to save his 80 carry. That allows LNG to clean up a majority of these grubs unless Weiwei can sneak one of them. But it doesn't look like to be the case here.
They have vision. We'll see. Maybe Knight just tries to throw a Q in there. No, not
that we've seen in this series so far. Not necessarily a rare case in the LPL, as you know, drag yourself after something's been said that you were not expecting. Has On, I don't think he was expecting this cow, and he gets interrupted on the magical journey out. He's not getting out alive at all. And with the lights turned out, Elk has no idea that there's an angry cow walking towards him. So he's forced to pop the Featherstorm, and then it's not enough damage from the Super Mega Death Rocket, but it was close. And LNG, they're trying to slam that foot on the pedal. Wei comes in with the Grand Starfall, but I don't know what he was expecting to get, because Weiwei is there to cover, flash into the W to try and ferry himself to Jewel, but he's got the damage reduction for the ulti, and Elk just can't do enough.
What's going on? Not the case, but a 2K gold lead from LNG. Last game, it was the one member that stuck around, the top laner in Zeka, that was big. This time it's the other one, Weiwei, who's really making things happen for BLG.
I think Bin was trying to anticipate the Keeper's Verdict and flash over it, but I don't know if it was just a little delayed, but Wei steps aside it, maybe has one more Q in the tank, but Zika sidesteps it. LNG are cooking, man, and here comes Haichao to look for the punish on the Bin. Grandmaster's Pipe is just popped a little too late, I fear. My goodness. Tempered Fate is going to force the flash out of Haichao, but man, oh man, BLG, they haven't gotten a single solid play for themselves on the map yet.
Oh, heads up. Elk could be in trouble if he shows. Does have Flash and Featherstorm. But yeah, Paranoia.
That forces the Featherstorm. But there's a flanking Jewel, and they follow him into the jungle quadrant. And this time the Rock...
Can't talk. We had a TP
They're going to try again.
Yeah, Knight's been focused to WAP, but now he's going to turn his sight.
New challenger approaches.
Yeah,
Zika has no tools this time to escape, and this is a guaranteed kill. BLG's first one of this game 3, which feels pretty strange to say for the side, especially if we just know the pedigree of BLG, but they're going to continue pressing forward. Photic forced to flash, slowed by the Cosmic Binding. They turn their eyes on the Jewel, get his flash as well, and now Photic is in trouble. No flash to dodge the Temper Fate, and surely this should be a solid shutdown bounty going back over to Elk.
Pretty decent answer coming out from BLG. They did lose the Rift Herald, as that was picked up by Weiwei while all that was going on. That said, BLG, they're going to take the tower now after the kills. Mid-outer gonna fall, and see they set their sights onto the Dragon. Haichao will dock down top outer for himself, but again, LNG, I mean, just good to see them making these proactive plays together as a team. And I want to see where the next Paranoia is at, because Weiwei's really dictating the pace of the game with his ultimate. I know both him and Pantheon have some pretty big reach with those side. It's voracious, you know, it's a pro game. We all know what it is. Oh, okay, here we go.
A little far from Wei, but Haichao is forced back into Wei. Mountain Soul and the added resistances on top of it. So they're going to try to pull the trigger here. Paranoia into the Featherstorm, answer blow for blow. But Elk might be forced to flash, but it's a great collapse from Zika. Still looking for the turnaround and the follow-up, but Wei turns around with a collapse of his own. The counterattack is too great for LNG to overcome, and the rest of BLG's strength rises in numbers. LNG just got nothing left to fight back.
I gotta see a replay on that one, because the start of the fight looked pretty promising for LNG. They found a really nice combo onto Elk. The engage from Zika was big, but the follow-up just wasn't there. Jinx got... I just want to see if Photic had any angles to get involved in terms of hitting Elk, because the setup was so good.
That narrative is gone. BLG are back in control. They are now on Soul Point after the take of this third dragon. Otacon secured on their side, and it's back.
LNG not able to access a top wave. It's kind of a dead wave at the moment. Can't get to the top side camps because they're defending this. And so BLG dictating the pace of the game, and LNG have to dance to BLG's tune.
The voracious GA is doing so much work. Bin is occupying the attention of two players on the top side. Weiwei just collapses through Bin, but these GAs are going to get popped, and BLG, they knew what they wanted to come for. It does delay things a lot, but...
Yeah.
I mean, as a jungler, hang on. Decent engage in
must fight.
top quadrant. Zika
wait,
in trouble. Teleport coming in. I think it's Knight. And I don't think Zika's got any more friends to bail him out of this one. Baron is
a mile away. And for whatever reason, doesn't have flash available. Okay,
Paranoia.
Oh, wait, no.
Lights are turned off. Wei steps up. Zhuo pops the ultimate, tries to reduce as much damage as he can, but he's separated from the team. Good locket timing, tempered fate. He sidesteps it, but Knight comes in, and now he's looking for Wei. The rest of the backline from LNG completely zoned off. Zika rejoins the fight. Wei pushing forward, and the Shield of Soul just completely demolishes LNG's front line and backline in one swift strike. BLG wipe the floor with LNG, and any chance for an upset is just not in today's history books. BLG are the dominant ones. They are one of the best teams we've seen in LPL, and that story does not change tonight.
Right on. I know I gave your Bard from LPL Finals some grief to kick off this game, but this game 3, much better for On. That last fight was fantastic on the Bard, and BLG ending this series with a hell of a punctuation mark at the end, as this was a game where you called it out, Rafa. LNG, they had a good start. They got the first 6 kills. They had a lead. It was in their favor. BLG's ability to just turn the game like that, flip it on a dime is what it feels like. Again, something that this team has always had the firepower to do, but to see it here, man, really good. And in terms of LNG, we saw Zika get a lead in game 2. Wasn't able to convert that to a victory. Wei, I thought, had a really nice game 3 and some good starts. Just couldn't convert that to a victory. It just feels like LNG, it's sad because we've seen these pieces in the past have success with this roster. They've competed with the LPL at the top of the table, and this year it just feels like you're approaching a doomed year as a fan if they are going to run this 5, because this is not a team that's going to be able to compete with the top of the LPL from what we've seen so far.
So close and yet so far in their own way, and it does sting even more to lose in such fashion in front of your home crowd at the, hopefully I'm saying this right, the Sujo Arena. You know, they had the fan base come out in massive support, and I'm very positive they'll still be supporting them after the series, being able to see some of the bright moments that were genuinely there. You know, game 1, not so much. That was like pretty much a roll and a stomp, but you know, game 2, Zika's Rumble, Wei's Vi, they were creating moments of opportunity for a potential comeback. And then game 3, I mean, this opening 12 minutes, as we both called it out, this was the closest that LNG had to realistically a real shot at taking a game off of BLG. And it would have really opened the conversation of, you know, what we could have expected. But with this victory from BLG, it is now official. Both Thunder Talk and BLG will be advancing from Group C, respectively, into the playoffs for our first split of the 2025 season.
Baby. You want the TT versus BLG. That's the best matchup that this group has to offer.
And we're going to have to wait until we come back from Lunar Year break.
Yeah, I will see if the form of TT can improve, or I should say continue and keep on improving. But, I mean, BLG, again, the start of the LPL, some of the tournament favorites and some of, you know, the favorites for not just split 1, but like 2 and 3 to go international for LPL, they've not had the hottest starts to the split. BLG, they've had a very hot start to the split, man. These guys, again, just the talent that all 5 players have just individually on this roster, that the pedigree that this roster has. Have the games been perfect? No. But we've never really expected that out of BLG. What we can expect is that when they do get leads, they can just take it from 1k gold to 10k gold so fast, and we are still seeing that with the Otacon on the Rift 2. I still want to see BLG get challenged more by a team, but to see them take care of business in this style, it's still really promising for BLG fans who, it just seems wild that the hopes of this team, it's like the last couple years, I mean, all they've done is just go international and play in finals or push for finals, or lose in semis to people that ended up winning finals, right? Yeah. Like, this is a team that is just on a ridiculous tear, and it really feels like it's set up to continue yet again this year.
And with that high of accomplishments that they've reached in the past, it's just only natural that our expectations are going to match that ceiling going into today's series. And, I think we were very honest up front that, LNG were not expected to, have that much of a fighting chance, especially given their Demacia Cup performance and their previous series against Thunder Talk. Credit to, the couple moments where they looked good and there was, potential to really build off of. But unfortunately for LNG, apart from one last, series that they will play against EDG that unfortunately doesn't really mean much for playoffs, that will be the end of their split. And then they're going to have to wait until split 2 before they can get back in the ring and try again to go farther.
Dude, that gold graph was something else, man.
Yep.
I mean, that looked like LNG 2024 to LNG 2025, sadly. How that one fell off. Yeah.
Oh, man. Oof. That's ouch. Brutal. Even our producer's just going, if we're getting our producer to react like that, it's some tough stuff.
Sadly, not wrong, which is why we can have a good laugh about it. So
yeah, well,
bit of a bummer.
Let's get some MVP discussions out of the way. I mean, okay,
we got a second series to get to, man.
That's
true.
Two
best of fives tonight.
So all right, well, check this out. We'll reveal the MVP of the series going into our second series, but we're gonna have a caster swap. So this is the end of the night for me and Cubby, but letting you all know, our producer Bread is doing double duty tonight, so he's the real GOAT for the production on tonight's show. So big shout outs to Bread and shout outs to him for running the show while me and Cubby get to sleep early. Credit to BLG, quick 3-0 over LNG. Before we sign off,
I'm staying up for the next series. What do you mean?
Okay. Well, I'm going out of town, so I got to pack. So I got to take care of some things. But Matt, before we sign off and swap it on over, anything you would like to share with the audience?
No, thanks so much for tuning in, supporting this broadcast. Reminder that this is an unofficial broadcast, so any support, whether it's dropping subs, members, or supporting the coffee, fantastic. A shout out to Aaron Soup, who is our special coffee supporter already.